again, and happy 4th of July weekend. 4 months to Election Day, 2 weeks to the conventions, and the race for the White House is kicking into high gear. Both candidates are now vetting running mates. Decisions on vice presidents imminent. Hillary Clinton is set to hit the trail hard this week with Vice President Biden and President Obama himself. All this as the Clinton email investigation enters a dramatic final phase. Saturday, Clinton spent 3.5 hours being interviewed at FBI headquarters, voluntarily answering questions about that private server she kept while Secretary of State. Donald Trump complained that the system is totally rigged, called for criminal charges against Clinton, and he called Bill Clinton's Tarmac meeting with the Attorney General stupid. And last night, determined to show she is carrying on as normal, Hillary Clinton showed up on Broadway, backstage at the hit musical Hamilton, with her husband by her side. We have full coverage of the investigation and the political fallout, and we begin with senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas and senior national correspondent Cecilia Vega, who has been covering the Clinton campaign. Good morning to you both, and let's begin with you, Pierre. We know it was 3.5 hours. We know it was voluntary, but what kind of questions would they ask her?
Martha, I believe they wanted to know why Secretary Clinton set up this unusual email system in the first place, who, if anyone, from the State Department signed off on this, and whether there were any discussions about how to keep classified information off that private email system. This FBI investigation has gone on for many months, and they want to compare what Secretary Clinton knows to what was found during the investigation.
As you know, Pierre, in order to indict, this would have to meet the legal standard of having mishandled classified information. What's that standard, and what's the likelihood Hillary Clinton or any of her aides will face charges?
It's a pretty high bar. It can't just be that classified information was mishandled. You have to prove there was criminal intent to do so. It's not just about negligence or being sloppy. Martha, the key here is, I'm told that one of the reasons the investigation took so long is because the FBI went back and looked at the access Clinton aides had to secure computer networks that contain classified information. They wanted to know if those aides took classified information from the secure locations and then emailed it to the secretary on her non-secure private email system. They dissected everything.
So how rapidly do you think they can wrap this up? She was likely the last, if not the very last person interviewed.
They are clearly in the final stages. I'm told Justice Department officials want this resolved before the convention start in just about 2 weeks. Whether they'll make that deadline remains to be seen. I recently spoke to a former senior justice official who was critical that this was being resolved so close to the conventions, Martha.
Okay, thanks very much, Pierre. And Cecilia, what's next for the campaign? What do they do about this?
Well, Martha, I think you're seeing this strategy play out in real time. Just look at the timing of what happened yesterday. This interview took place on a Saturday morning, early Saturday morning over a holiday weekend. Hillary Clinton, there were reporters camped out in front of her houses in D.C. and in Chappaqua, New York, and no one saw. There were no videos, no photos of Hillary Clinton going in or out of the FBI headquarters. That's the thing the campaign wanted in this, for an image like that to emerge. Her campaign is certainly in damage control mode right now. You mentioned the big week she's got coming up with President Obama and Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden, joining her on the campaign trail. She's going to head to Atlantic City, New Jersey, to essentially taunt Donald Trump on his own turf. The campaign wants to change the narrative right now. They're certainly hoping that as America is over watching these fireworks by tomorrow night, so will be over this story about this FBI investigation that took place.
But Cecilia, you cover this campaign every day. You talk to senior officials. Do they not get how serious this is, how this looks to voters?
You know what they get, Martha? They get that trust and honesty is a huge problem for Hillary Clinton, if not the biggest problem facing her right now as she heads into this general election against Donald Trump. Even Hillary Clinton mentioned that issue that she's got recently on the campaign trail in a pretty rare moment of self-reflection. She said she's got a lot of work to do to prove to voters that she's willing to work hard to win their trust. That is the problem for her going forward. You know, she's clearly going to be working on that more. I'm told by campaign sources that this issue of trust and self-reflection is something we're going to hear a lot more of. But the real problem, Martha, is they may not be able to change all of these minds out there. You and I have both spoken with people all around this country, even Hillary Clinton supporters, who say they don't trust her either.
That's exactly what I saw as well.